Thus I have heard. At one time, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of Altar Peak Mountain with a great gathering of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattva. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the samadhi of the many aspects of phenomena called profound appearance. At the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, "How should a son of the lineage train who wishes to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom?" Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva answered the Venerable Shariputra with these words. Shariputra, those men and women of the lineage who wish to follow the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look at it like this. The five skandhas should be seen purely in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, and having no characteristics, they are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no phenomena. There is no quality of sight, and so on, and until no quality of mind and no quality of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no exhaustion to ignorance, and so on up to no old age and death and no exhaustion of old age and death. In the same way, there is no suffering, no origin, no ending, and no path. No wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide by means of the profound perfection of wisdom. And since their minds have no obscurations, they have no fear. Transcending falsity, they attain nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times have relied upon the perfection of wisdom, and have become true and complete Buddhas of unsurpassable, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the profound perfection of wisdom, the mantra of insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, for it is not deceptive. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Teata om gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhi soha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. And the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and said to the bodhisattva mahasattva noble Avalokiteshvara that he had spoken well. Well done, O son of the lineage, it is so. O son of the lineage, since it is just so, the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva Mahasattva, and the entire gathering, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One.
Lo jidu jambe yang la jase lo kangi lo de timni de yina namda razebe chinye tugu jishe zi yiji toga le banze Ganda sebe sura mare me donge jisebe tozo Puji tase yala chungshu yane Chudara chido nyamo nyelo Leji chado duze Mare me se donge nyu Chini jese redena Dene taje saje taje Yone lozo jese tugu Juda juda junye yin Talu meze jambe yang la de
Om
Arabaza na di
Om Arapa
Baza na di
Om
Arabazanadi
Seden
Keye Kera Vusrengi Talu Timo Mbarabsene Kada Denju Shonlo Tobayi Lodru Bobe Mawaze Lo Se
Swaji Puki
就业麦多长，日照连续你的肩膀的，三界心都没得不忘意，诸个南大行啦就把它修。拉面胡子的南极，修个卡拉金子的的呢。其他参别对接在马拉，萨比去吉加巴都是。越南面的拉甘尼亚达呀米。就当初级就能拉，全球把大内教书记，大一技术级别做南极，做了边界三级做把它修。就当初级就能拉，全球把大内教书记，大一技术级别做南极，做了边界三级做把它修。所以就能拉长久把多大内就书记，大概技术级别所能的，做了边界三阶主个修死。哦，老师给你们了，谁那个多？
老龙给了，
老师，嗯嗯，电机对我兄弟给我一下的，可是直接的落差是吧？
那老差评，
老师，
那天我们的啦的，
嗯，直接可是多大？
现在变不得，
嗯，对的。
两大大的
养大大当，错当做了吧当时，
老
是吧了？啊，
老人，
那是那是，自己家当就你把的，养大大当，错当做了吧当，前当顶尖牙当来大当，养大多年，南极养垃圾，听你媳妇儿激烈，光把意思，那是第几次了呢？
also the first 113, right view, the livelihood and efforts, mindfulness and observed concentrations, speech and boundary of actions, and right thoughts are the 8 branches of the pathway mind. You need to meditate on them for the sake of being yourself, for the sake of bringing yourself the peace of your nirvana.
来的，老师跟他在密里做下过，来的，没，啊。카바드도 비딜랑 삼소도
better thoroughly can
여기 슛 싸기도 돼.
look.
It's been 10 minutes, 12 minutes since you started.
Huh?
He hasn't even started the meeting. He hasn't started the meeting. It's been 12 minutes since. it was supposed to-
뭐야? 알았어. 다 되게 직제 되게 파라미 연락이 되나기도 와. 기상 대 강게 직제 되게 내 강게 아주 당벌로야 직제 되게 전주기 연락 된대나서 다 되게 단대 직제 되게 파라미 연락이 박배람 연락이 세야지. 되나기도 와.
That's all.
알았어.
So then this verse actually teaches you about the practice of Eightfold Noble Path. Eightfold Noble Path. That's all.
That's ta pakpe lam yin la je di peji gom lam la kisang di thong lam la cha yin ba chanchu yin la dun di thong lam la cha yin ba ta tan de de peji gom lam la cha ya re wa la phak lang yin la je sa de gom lam la pha cha ne shu ya je re ta yin na yang nge de sebu sebu ji theng ge min du da ta de de ken khora la ya te kha so re nga zo de zo lo jo chi de zam ba la ya gyuk zhui chi ya ge che de ma to ji ge tin de mi la xie ya ge che do jiong ge de sam de chang yo ma de tin de yu de dan da seng na la se bu de me do ai
So this Eightfold Noble Truths is actually traditionally taught, well, where are studying in perfection wisdom on the path of meditations. So this will be this particular, verse, which actually talks about the Eightfold Noble Path, are actually associated with the path of meditation.
tin de yin de zam ba la ya de phang lang yin la je de na ge ne chang ga ja de zam ba la ya thang bo de yang ta be da wa che ten ne yang ta be cho wa che ten ne yang ta be zo lo wa che ten ne yang ta be chen ba che ya ding yi zin che yang ta be ding yi zin yang ta be nga yang ta be le ji ta yang ta be to ba o di je de re do
Also, so the perfect view is the first out of Eightfold Noble Path. In other words, perfect view or the right view and livelihood, effort, mindfulness, observe concentrations, speech and boundary of actions, and the right thought. So those are the 8 branches of the pathway mind, or it's a Eightfold Noble Path.
Yes. Da de na ne yang da be da wa se ya de yang da be da wa se ya de la ya da da de pa lam yin la je na ge da wa de re do yin na ya yang da be da wa se ya de la ji da ni yong gu do wa ji den be yang da be da wa se ya ji da ya yang da be da wa ji da yang da be da wa se ya de ani dong ba ni ko be ge da wa da ga ra la ko go do ni chin ji ma lo ba ge da zhu da su su lu ge zhu da kan da kan yin na da ga rang ge lu ge dong ba ni de ani ya bo ji xian ba de la ya yang da be da wa se ge wa ta yang nga ran zo me gi wa ju la ya me gi wa thong ne ani me gi wa ju di pa me gi wa ju di ka so re ta me gi wa la thong ne ani me gi wa ju le pa pang ne ani ge wa ju la ju ya de la ya yang ji den be yang ta be ta wa si ne o den de ji si do
The perfect view, it is the actual perfect view here refers to the perfect view of emptiness. The perfect view of emptiness in accordance with their own philosophical, standpoints, be it as if one is a follower of the certain philosophical standpoint, philosophical view, such as Chittamatra and so forth, and whatever the emptiness that you may have gained, realization that you may have gained, in accordance with one's own, whatever the philosophical classes or the tenets that you follow. And for instance, if one is follower of the Chittamatra and one's view on emptiness is based on the Chittamatra standpoint and so forth. So in other words, this perfect view is actually refers to the realization of actual emptiness. But then when again there is also sometimes we also find in certain texts there are two divisions of the perfect view. The one is the perfect view of emptiness, another one is worldly perfect view. So worldly perfect view here refers to someone is who who identifies the 10 known virtuous actions, and abandoning the 10 known virtuous actions and adopting the 10 virtuous actions. And that state of mind is also known as the perfect view of uh, uh, the worldly perfect view. That's all.
대체 다 되네 단대디 오다 단대디 다 가서 그래 단대디 나게 팔랑 예라나 제나게 양탑에 따왔어야 돼어 데레샤 다르와 지당 군주당 전단대 반니 새벽에 안에 전단제 뭐 또백이 따와 대레면도 박배 덴바시당 레다 레준데 지다바시도 배지 템바 지다바시도 네반니들와 세메창배 네반니 니 제게 텐데질라야 아니 양답에 따와시도 단대들이야 팔랑 예라제는 그 양답에 따와디 박배 템바시다 아니 레준데라야 네바 야보진이 되게 될라야 아니 양답에 따와시네 텐데지시도
So however, in this context of the Four Noble Truths, and sorry, the Eightfold Noble Path of perfect view, in the context of perfect view of Eightfold Noble Path, is here refers to the view that has a pure ascertainment or the pure understanding of the Four Noble Truths, and have a genuine conviction in law of cause and effect. That's all.
다 단다디나라 양답에 따와다 양답에 철로바체 아니 데네스마 양답에 초와체 양답에 철와스마 리기도 다 코란게 조야게 리베원도 제베 있나 양답에 따와게 제라 양답에 똑바들리고도 양답에 똑바디 양답에 따와 양답에 똑바 양답에 초와스네 다 양답에 똑바스야 데 컨데질러스 그래서는 양답에 똑바스야 데 컨데질러스 그래서는 어 양답에 따와기 아니 가서 그래 양답에 따와게 다 덴바시랑 네바 텐수바니 레준데랑 네바 텐수바니네 덴니베기 제바 텔라테네 아니 네 가서 그래 다 도스문근주로 되더라 나라도 도스문근주로 봐 되자봉와 셰담봉와 아니 나제봉와 아니 세와봉와 덴데지기 세와봉와 덴데기 아니 또바질라야 아니 양답에 또바스네라 덴데질라시기도 라스
And according to this sequential order, I mean, in this particular work, the verse that in this verse, the Four Noble Paths are not actually given in proper order. So if you go through the proper orders, right after the perfect view, the right thought or the perfect thoughts will be followed. So the right thought or the right perfect thought is the one when one gains the realization of, when one gains this right views, which have a proper understanding of the Four Noble Truths, or proper ascertainment of Four Noble Truths, and conviction, the genuine conviction and love for law of cause and effect. And on that basis, one then, engages in the practice of abandoning the negativities and abandons the negativities, or just the manifest negativities, in other words, manifest defilements. And having abandoned this manifest, when one gains the realization of abandoning manifested manifest or defilements, and the very state of abandoning this manifest defilement is what is known as the perfect thoughts or the right thoughts.
알았어. 다 대나라 단다 나랑도 직지에 대나라 또제 구름도제 축제 dig도 다 양답에 따와게 제라 양답에 또와체 똑바체 다 대제라 양답에 초와 양답에 초와서야도 다 내려버려 다 rabdo chungwa ina ane lokso nga pangwa tela yangtakpe tsobarwa, rabdo chungwa tsoba de loba tsoba, lokso pangwa tela che, ane loba tsoba de nga ta kasa kore dewa kasa, sholong, nipe tsoba, tabji jeba oda odine nga yuwa odi nga de pangwa tela ya ane yangtakpe tsoba 다 양 김버다고 이나 안에 지 총책에 잡고 이나 안에 지 제다 상로 요규치 버스야 잡보다 다 진짜 바빠와 안에 심지세는 총잡아 안에 지 도잡고 총잡아 손잡고 총잡아라 소바 소바 제기데 다데 야마다고 소바라 다 대조치 빵네 안에 지 현라야 세바게 레마체네 안에 소바 제버들라야 양답에 소바스기로
So for the right livelihood is the the right livelihood is what is that is the next third one, and so this is that right livelihood is to the noble path of right livelihood is to the in other words, livelihood is to clothe and feed oneself in accord with the Dharma. So whatever the one's livelihood should not be a accord by means of wrong livelihood, such as taking life of others, having a intention of deceiving others, or cheating, looting, and so forth. And so whatever that one has acquired, one's resources and such as clothing, fooding, and so forth, must be acquired appropriately without cheating and without taking the life of others and deceiving and so on. That's all.
나스 데디레 파벨람 연라다다 전주의 연라 된세야도 배낭 나란조 파르친 조기 봐 진배 파르도 진바다 수딩게 파르지 버스 파르친 바든데 조기로 봐 어디 파르친 조기 진배 파르도 진바데 여사 가와요라서는 산지에게 살라마도 요마라 진배 파르도 진바데 산지에게 살라마도 요마라 봐 이나야 진배 파르도 진배 냠랜디 아니 지지 솔럼 내려가 제조가지로 봐 수술이야 전주생 가든에 길을 계속나는 데네 안에 파진 조기 냠랜데 여러와 다 파주도 침바 중원에데 가봐요래서나 안에 산지의 사람도 여마르와 바로도 침바 조대 대나 신체네 단다 전주의 연라 된다 파벨람 연라 제버세디 자사 얘기 남라야 자베르데 이나야 투즈 냠랜데 단단에 여대 버지로와
So just as the six perfections, the sixth perfection is the perfected, perfection. Six perfections are exclusive quality of the enlightened beings. However, this sixth perfection can be practice right from the beginning of one's own spiritual path, such as paths of accumulations. At the moment that you have attained, you have gained the realization of you have gained the realization of bodhicitta in the path of accumulations. One can engage in the practice of perfection, such as perfection of wisdom, perfection of generosity, morality, and so on. However, those perfected quality, the perfected, this actual perfection of six paramita or the six perfections can only be achieved when one attains state of enlightenment. In the same manner, when we talk about the sevenfold, seven path enlightenment, the path of enlightenment, or the eight four noble paths, are actually, attained. Such can be attained only when one is attained the, noble beings, or when one attains this path of seeing onwards. But one can practice those eight four noble paths and seven paths of enlightenment right from the beginning, when without even entering oneself into the path of accumulation and so forth. That's all.
어딘데 인도 단단하랑도 chanju sodo 나게 데 쳔바니 샤시데 다딩자 치제가라 대쇼 다르서 전에 안 롭다도 존나라 베디 티기 서로 쳔바니 샤시데 다 쳔바니 샤시데 데네 지 취주 현다진의 추일래요나 가서 낭배 낭벽이 낭배나네 파타이나 메시 디 chanju sodo 나게 쳔바니 샤시데 검자야 되다 지 치제나라 망보 다이 서로
So now we find that this practice of mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness is quite, common and popularly practiced by, all, walks of life, the people of all walks of life, and who actually follow this practice. And so this for mindfulness, particularly the for mindfulness, it's actually find in it's actually belongs to one of the category of this 37 path to enlightenment.
어디 제다드네 어디데 손디 잠발라다 단데게 되나게 양답에 따와다 양답에 초와다 양답에 또바니가 단단내 냠렌치야 연교지래도 대체 다드네 양답에 쫄와서야 돼 지당 쫄와서야 되다 나란주 준주 군이 잡으러 쫄와서디 직단 내가 잡으지 가래이나 될라 깔래게 될 쫄와체 배전체 세계로 다단데디 양답에 쫄와디 가르레스나 아니 조 띵이지 고미야 지가서 오래 신내 고미야라면도 신내 고미야다 아니 동반이라 제바치야다 아니 닝제 고미야다 잔주게 셈 고미야다 다 대배 탐제 그 왕도 제비나다 지 띵이진다 신내다 된제 고미야라야 아니 배전체네로 와 규마 제바제 배전체야들라 딱 벌어 지야 배전체야들라 아니 양답에 절바스네 어딘데 생겼어
The next is the right effort. Right effort is effort that one is putting in effort to engaging in practice, particularly of meditations, meditation on, meditating or practicing shamatha, or meditating on calm abiding and single-pointed concentrations, observed concentrations, and so forth, and engaging in the practice of bodhicitta and meditating on emptiness and so forth. So this is what is meant by this is the effort that is known as the right effort.
어지게 다 대체 다 되네 될라야 양답에 템바스야 될려서 딱다 될라 다된 양답에 템바스 다로와 양답에 템바스야 되나라 다베기 다다 팔란 예라제나게 템바데 레용 오래 안에 템바데다 고란이 찍버져 버려라 봐다 템바니 샤디나라야 아니 템바니 샤 실을 차샤비나 가르스나 가자 류 템바니와 샤바 셈 템바니와 샤바 소원이 temanya wa shaba che temanya wa shaba sinerwa tenderwa
So
las
the perfect mindfulness comes the next. The noble part of right mindfulness, in other words, is not to forget the object of meditation as a path. This is what is meant by the perfect, the right mindfulness. But then we also have the four right mindfulness, the four mindfulness, which belongs to, which is one of the category, one of the, path that we find out, in other words, that we find in the 37 path of enlightenment. It's the right, the four mindfulness is actually find right from the beginning and of this 37 path of enlightenment. So there are four, there are, roughly four mindfulness: the mindfulness of body, mindfulness of mind, mindfulness of feeling, and mindfulness of Dharma.
어디체 다 대나라야다 르 temanya 단대 temanya wa shaba 시시야데 지동 검자야게 계자지로와 검자야게 계자체 어다 대나라야지 결혼 세보도 저기 이제 갈래 공부자제 검지자기도 와 어다 대나라 르 temanya wa shaba 세야데 대나라 리게 메로 베제 아니 올라 장가자야 되지 다르 temanya wa 샤스 조 르게 내주 딱제 치야 되와 르게 내단 딱제 치다 르 메도바 공부에 나다르와 딘데체네 르게 내주 딱제 치 아니 올라 장가자야다 아니 셈라야 따도치야다 다 최대만여와 샤다 르심니스 체베게다 르심니스 로데베게다 지랑 다마이나나 대마이바 신다게 추 다데졸라야 다제치야 데졸라야 오다 대만여와 샤바스 데데스기 유서와 데네이디 산제게 도직도와 대만여샤게 도스기 지 소르도와 오다 오디나네마 개보체는 송이 이르와 데데치디 좀 발라야 단다 전반 지당 전반이 샤스야 돼 어디 다 단대게 전반이 샤 시나게 송야 돼 대체 다 대나네 나란 쪽이 지당 검자도 이내래 칸도 개조치도 이내래 아니 지 내가 가리 제비나 남주고 초배나게 내가 지기 이내래 가리 제비나 전반 템포체네 지고야 돼 빼마세 개제보래도
So it is if we talk roughly about those four mindfulness, the mindfulness of body is one is observing one's body and seeing the changes of one's body, and also there's a meditation, what we call meditation with regard to one's body, but just by looking at one's body, and impurity by seeing that impurity of one's body and so forth. And also sometimes we find that Theravadan sanghas or the bhikshus and bhikshunis, they have a certain practice of walking meditation, which is also belongs to mindfulness of body, and looking at and observing one's own breath of the circle of respiration, by observing that, which is also that's also belongs to for mindfulness of body, so on. And then mindfulness of feeling, that by observing one's feeling, how the feeling of pleasure, displeasure, neuter, and so forth, and just observing that how it actually how the change take place, and the feeling itself doesn't really remain eternally, or it doesn't remain long period of time. It keeps changing, and so just transient nature by or by observing the transit nature of one's feeling and so on. And then so then looking at one's mind and observing one's mind is mindfulness, the mindfulness of mind, and then mindfulness of dharma which is actually it's mindfulness of phenomena. So by looking at, by observing other phenomena, out of not just focusing only on one's own feeling and one's body, breathing and so on, but rather observing the other phenomena. So in other words, how that particular phenomena, which is external phenomena, how it exists, how the mode of existence of that particular, phenomena and so on.
어디지? 양덕배 청아치 다 양덕배 딩이지 양덕배 딩이지 세야되다 신에게 셈라스기로 와 신에게 셈라 아니 다 삼대스기로 와 신에 삼대스기로 와 딩이진들이야 다 딩이지 될라야다 가서 그래 지난 알아서 공개해야 될 시기로 왔다 디나야 가서 그래. 당가랑도 치료받아 나뭐 튜몽디 다 신의 주비한테 튜몽 바로 와. 아니 치료받아 저게 아니 신의라 되네로 와. 신의 좀네 심지집에 땡이진라 신의 좀네 다 가서 그래. 심내 고라 소바다도 중에 챙기면도 다 되서 겁네. 아니 야 공부를 줘네. 아니 삼대 당보다 얘기 가서 그래. 삼대 당본이와게 셈대도 좋네. 대도 좋네. 안에 직된벽이 다 되베 되자 문주와 리시 매와 대소베 리시 까발라 야와 되베 되자 문주와 바까바 근데 지도가 여러봐.
Right observed concentration is referring to the samadhi, the actual samadhi. So when it comes to the samadhi or the shamatha, samadhi and shamatas are common practice of both Buddhist and non-Buddhist followers, particularly the non-Buddhist here refers to the followers of the Hinduism and so forth, and because the concentration, the certain level of concentrations or the observed concentration or the samadhi can be the similar steps of practice, such as ninefold, meditation practice and so forth. Those are quite similar, which shares with other religious traditions such as Hinduism and so forth. And it is in these concentrations there are, certain that there are levels of meditative observations or the samadhis or samadhis from the first level of meditative absorption, the level of meditative absorption, second level of meditative absorption, third level of meditative absorptions. And notice all the way up to the peak of existence, this right observed concentration of the samadhi are the similar practice which shares with the non-Buddhist followers, the practitioners, in other words, the followers of the Hinduism. And it is when whoever is gained this right observed concentrations of the samadhi on the peak of existence, and what will happen to that individual is to have that such individual can actually abandon or eliminates the attachment of desirums, attachment of the Vedasha, which is the attachment of desirums, and up until till the peak of existence, even the non-Buddhists, such as followers of Hinduism, can achieve. That's all.
테네 데르와 다 낭바기 안에 신의 두야데 가르레스나 신의 두야데 가르레스나 안에 다 녀몽 방야기 녀몽 베디 응주로 왔자마자 녀몽 자완의 방야기 체도 신의 두기 요자 안에 셈 신의 두 안에 제직베 셈되게 안에 동반이라야 안에 가서 그래 어 냠조 레메 제네르바 제제라야 실라 송데기 띵이 진두 실라 송데기 띵이 진데기 아니 지뎀베기 다람 토시 아니 졸람 최조 쳔부두 안데 제라야 다 되네 졸람 최조 쳔베 제라야 아니 동반이라야 동반이 무슨도 또네 아니 되네 제네 아니 녀몽베기 티바 방고 쪽으로 와
So, however, the objective of meditating, objective of practicing shamatha or the samadhi is different. Of the Buddhist practitioners, their way of practice, the objective is different, differ from the non-Buddhist practitioners. Because why? Because how how do we differentiate ourselves? How the practice of samadhi and samadhi are directed towards abandonment of not only the manifest defilements, but eliminating entire defilements with their imprints, delusions, or the afflictions, the mental afflictions with their imprints. That is our objective. This is what we're aiming towards. Whereas the other followers, there is a mere gaining the mental peace or mental ease, and then advancing that mental peace and the ease of their mind, further. That is only the objective of those followers, and as a result, they can only abandon the manifest level of mental afflictions, such as attachment of desirums and so forth. Whereas the Buddhist practitioners are completely different. They are not just aiming towards elimination of their manifest level of afflictions, but trying to get rid of their afflictions with their imprints. It is for this, right from the beginning of their path of accumulations, they have a different way of, the different objective, then part of preparations. When it comes to part of preparations, and finally, will be on the path of preparation of the supreme path of preparations. When such individual is on the supreme path of preparations, then will such individual will then transcend to the path of seeing. When such individual is entering into the path of seeing, and then this will be able to attain what we call insight into the nature of emptiness, in conjunction with this mental, observed concentrations or the shamatha and Shila Sungde, which is in Tibetan, which literally means the unity of special insight and shamatha.
어디체 테네 텐데기 다 딩이진데 텐데기 딩이진데 도발아야다 나라도 라면치 못다 도전하라 요거 찍바리 다 딩이진라 도발아야다 가서 그래 단단 가라도 가서 그래 다들 제수다 그 심내고 안에 될야 이지시다 톱 죽을 소바 죽을도다 람렌다 파진도스나 세버시다 요래 다 호텔 된제 안에 두고 요래스로 하시네
So the actual shamatha or the calm abiding of can be achieved by putting an effort and continual practice on the 8 mental states, 8 sequence of the mental states. So 9 sequence of the mental states, and the in the 6 forces. So those practice, description of those practice, or the actual explanation of those practice, the detailed explanation of this practice can be found in the Prajaparamita Sutra, as well as in the Lamrim Chimu, or the great deities on the stages of the path to enlightenment.
ngaranzu matuba che bedi yu shale ma do shen ngone de zo shine du dang de zo ya bo ji jang ji du gu yin na pe ji lo ji go ge yi ma re.
If you really put in effort wholeheartedly to practice shamatha, then one will be able to achieve shamatha within a year.
아니 지 두수나 나 빼마시 펜도 침보 유사를 다 롭종당 가르치기 있는 빼마시 다 셈데 가서 그래 제름 붙이기 된달라브린 뒤뒤나라야 삼딘 셈라 왕규르 제보데 시발 아니 샤나 요메 리 왕보시 땅나 개베 미고 군라 주 르셈 레스로베 대젠텐스네 어딘데게 편여 송도 대빼마시 지 두투나다 여보 유사를.
That's all. So if one is able to attain this shamatha, it's a really, really beneficial. It's not only beneficial for one's own meditation, advancement of one's meditation, but also beneficial for one's day-to-day activities, such as studying, memorizing, and even one's on carrying on one's job and so forth. Are very it's at a great benefits. Not only just beneficial for one's advancements of one's meditations, just as we find in the abbreviate lamrim by Lama Tsongkhapa, something similar you care about the Shana Yom Bushi, Tana Kiom, so what does that really means? Is that concentration is the king with the power over the mind. So if set, it will not waver like a powerful mountain. When focused, it enters into all virtues object and leads to the bliss of the physical and mental pliancy. Knowing this, the powerful yogis, rely continuously upon concentrations, destroying the enemy of mental wandering. That's all.
That's all. 대 신내도 두구나 다 르심니가로 대진 가서라 르신장게 띵이 진다 아니 스미신장게 띵이 진니가 두비나 빼마시 펜도 요레 숨기도 와대 이 이사로 아니 다 셈라다 봐 다가서 그래 지 녀몽 운주로 봐도 시라 구조 땅마도 보다 이 바로 안 수부디 지 빼마시 양모 텐데체 아니 가란 쪽 칼라 락바도 졸라 시라 데모고게 아니 가리 베디지 네마 다른 살아야 지 라겐지 요레사 마기 다슈네 여기 다른 사기 여기 간사 발아야 전에 까마카시 지나라 이게 알레드 레데기 요레서 저 전에 하마고 전에 코 신의 줍데 예전 로디 양모체 가사가 축제 레게 요레서 어디에 수불라 핀도 신유에서 저된터네.
As we mentioned earlier, that if one is able to achieve this meditative observed concentrations or the shamatha, it is not only beneficial for advancement of one's meditation, but it's also very beneficial for one's day-to-day activities. And it's clearly mentioned, it says concentration is with the king, the power over the mind. It said, if set, it will not waver like a powerful mountains. And when focused, it enters into the virtuous object and leads to the bliss of the physical and mental pliancy. So here it is by perfection, by achieving this shamatha, then with this will lead to the bliss of the physical and mental pliancy. When one achieves the physical and mental pliancy, then one will be free from tiredness or the exhaustions and fatigues. And one's body will always remain so active, with any discomforts, the physical discomforts, difficulty, so much so that you don't even have to rely on those gross, foods and drinks. We don't have to rely on that. We can go on for many days and many days without even having foods and food without having foods when one gains this physical and mental pliancy, right? And so there's one example that I was told that when one of the meditator in Dharamsala in India uh, is quite a elderly practitioner. He was said to have this achieved this mental and physical fluency, because when you come to the town, and then it actually quite far from the town to where he's meditating was the place where he's meditating. But then, the way he reaches up to his meditation place from the town is something that's so, it's so instantly, it's in one instance that he will be able to get to that place where he is staying. It's pretty far, but then for him, it just doesn't take time at all. So that is a sign that he has actually attained physical and mental pliancy. So if we put in effort ourselves, we also have a potential of attaining such level of realization.
다 되래. 양답에 나. 양답에 나서야지 다 나기 미기 워시 빵제라 여라. 나기 미기 워시 빵스나나. 아니 양답에 나 자기 가서래. 양답에 나 자기로. 주 참아 치주 나제 시디 파 빵제. 아니 데비나 양답에 나 자기로.
So then the right speech is abandoning the four negative speech as we find in the 10 known virtues, 10 known virtues activities out of 10 known virtues, and of four negativities of the speech, such as lying, slandering, gossiping, and so forth.
그래서 다들 양답에 레스로와 양답에 레지 타스야 돼. 양답에 레지 타스야 돼. 다 조미기고 주자 밥빵네 되게 될라야 양답에 레지 타스기요래. 다 되나네 조디 류지 미기고 숨 소주 마진레 메상주 대빵지 되게 될라야 아니 양답에 레지 타스로와 대숨빵 빵투기 될라야 양답에 레지 타스네. 미기 주 조제네 되나네 양 류지 조숨
So the last one is the perfect boundary of actions. The perfect boundary of actions is the actions of abandoning the negativities of the body, the three negativities of the body, such as stealing, taking others, killing, stealing, killing, and so forth.
어디 제대스러와 다든데 팔랑이라 데니스러와 데니스도 디시아데 팔랑이라 제데 데니 시월 길레스도다 타르바토야게 체도와 타바다다 탐제 김베 고반 토야게 치 토야게 체도 아니 제보데 보치랑게 고무고 그래스네 고몰로로게 마송샤스.
This is what Nagarjuna has instructed to his friend King Dechuzambu, by saying that these are the skillful means that you really needed to be able to achieve enlightenment. So therefore, you must practice this in a proper sequence.
다들어야 티버리지 정수했어.
So any questions? 지금만 되면 되겠나?
인도
그래서
이모도 메도
다른 민도
No questions tonight, Nima.
민도사 켈라 메사
에세
메송도.
아다 파베 라미 야라지 세데 틴데 샤스
So this is a very brief, the rough introduction to the Eightfold Noble Path. But then if you want to go detail, then we have to look at different texts.
아니 다디 코데 오제네 아니 제시 쉬위 인스와
It is just a very rough introduction of the Eightfold Noble Path.
아이만 코랑지 가서고래 아니 딱 대적이데 아니 사카네 카와사바 예메 산장 카와사바 예메 수다 수이줄에 예메 세야데 다 대적 베칼레 카보 요레스
So if you go detail, then there's a lot of explanations that we find, and it also have a certain levels where this Eightfold Noble Paths can be achieved, and in which part of which bhumi such eightfold meditation eightfold path can be achieved, and where and and so and how this Eightfold Noble Path can be achieved, by what means that Eightfold Noble Path can be achieved, can be found in the detail, but it's a quite extensive studies required.
라소 아니 대링아서 텐데르데 샤바스
Some connect live here with this today.
All right, then we should say the dedication prayers.
Yeah.
진예 사베 게와데 데나 조와 가나 카멘 케바라 지즈 로산 타바이 템베 님보링도 세지 쇼
Saji
各界就业门道长，日绕灵犀人的结巴的，三界行动命的不外意，诸个南大行拉就巴拉修，
Ewa Kundu
养大喇嘛达，真美去也别拉中的，撒旦南极用的热做呢，多吉强给可帮有多修。
Edam Yuva
这那门的拉干内要大呀你，
Jetsun Mame
不得让天君那个体力求助也罢，罗山天边这门上什么的，这边没些大都内有的。
Kari Rawe
过了边新甘肃偏大的瓦马路这边呢。 接着生活定真家族下辈西的巴多定居的，
Chatna Pavuji
Yana.
Empanang Kuntu Sampo
这样提醒的铁大关机技术大陆去，给我铁大他们接着多么，西北家娃他们这些我娃干了就多我娃，大新给别早娃的人家。 三部曲接着多我娃啦的，都是，老师给你们了都去，
Yalla ma tari migi pe ba.
你找人了。
Oh,